Hey everyone, just a little reminder that in today's review there is a lot of spoilers in regards to Alan Wake 2 as well as possible triggering topics, so please keep that in mind and enjoy the review.
Lakes turn into oceans, loops turn into spirals. Alan Wake 2, a third-person horror survival action game, takes on two perspectives. Alan Wake 2 plays like a horror movie, cutting in between gameplay and real people, making this game dynamic and filled with surprises laced throughout the story. When the first game came out in 2010, I thought the pacing was off and the story confusing. Now, 14 years later, Alan Wake 2 is a refined performance that grips the mind and senses in a way I never thought a game could. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to the reviews. Today, we're going to be diving into my review of Alan Wake 2. In the world of Alan Wake 2, we see a mesh of psychological horror and realism that overtakes the experiences in a way that's special, refined. Visions from Saga, psychotic breaks from Alan, distorting what reality is and what he needs it to be. The balance between telling an incredible story and the gameplay is done in such a beautiful way where I didn't feel a harsh disconnect between the two. Everything felt well woven and crafted, taking this well-embroidered blanket and covering me in all of its darkness, blinding light, and haunting storytelling. Alan Wake shows the gaming industry that everything starts with a good story. The story of this installment of Alan Wake is more thought out than the first game. Gone are the days of heavily relying on Stephen King as a trope and bad fight mechanics. This game learned from its mistakes and what it missed the mark on with Alan Wake and Control. Subtlety only works when the story has strength. The strength of this story brings strength to both the first Alan Wake game and Control. When I was playing through, I saw Alice in a new way entirely that refined her character from the first game and now in Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake accomplished something that we only see really from indie studios nowadays, the ability to make me feel emotions in horror games. The only other bigger titles, in my opinion, that managed to pull off this combination of both extreme emotion and horror were The Evil Within, Resident Evil 1 Remake, and Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Very seldom do we see bigger studios capture the essence of psychological horror in the most human way possible, not just with Alan's struggles with loss or even Saga's battles internally, but with Alice and her battles with depression. Every character in this game is going through their own Everest, their own struggle, even down to the simplest NPC. I saw a lot of inspiration from The Evil Within with this game, the changing of scenery and how the characters slowly but surely go insane from trying to find answers. The mechanics in this installment are the best I've ever seen from Remedy. They were smooth, polished, and truly a joy to experience. In the first Alan Wake game, I felt like I didn't have control over the majority of the time when I was utilizing the flashlight, and the running mechanic, it felt strange, to say the least. Alan Wake 2's running mechanic, while it still felt like I was wading through water a tad, it still is eons better than the first game's mechanics. The mechanics work in tandem with the game's story, and I feel that's very hard to have that kind of a balance where everything works in tandem and unified. There are games that can pull it off, but it's very difficult to do it. The main thing I would recommend with the mechanics if you are playing this game is to turn off the motion blur. As someone who gets motion sickness and vertigo very easily, it made me feel woozy during the game until I turned it off. Another thing, and this doesn't have so much to do with the mechanics as it has to do with the visuals, where we're in safe zones, I see strobes of light across the screen at the top and at the bottom. It was truly uncomfortable to look at the screen with how bright the light was at certain points. Now, this might be completely different for someone who is visually impaired and can use the light to their advantage. I feel there could be more accessibility options so it is met in the middle for those who can see well and those who cannot. From Weesing's mental desperation and beautifully crafted story within a song to Saga's mind place, Alan Wake 2 takes gaming to a whole new level of immersion, helping Alan craft the perfect narrative that helps him get one step closer to the truth, freeing him from the spiral of his own mind. Alan Wake 2 took me by surprise at how much I loved this game. The experience and overall time I spent playing it was fun, immersive, and made me respect the first title a lot more because of that story clarification that we get throughout the game. And just overall tidying up of concepts was really nice to see. Going through some place that was once home to find that it's changed, morphed into something unknown is a terrifying thought. As a dark vibrancy washes over this game, I felt at home in the hell that was created and truly fell in love with Remedy's storytelling and morbid poetic nature. My personal score for this game, a 4.7 out of 5. But you guys, that was my review for Alan Wake 2. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you all like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every weekday here on YouTube. May you find your worth in the waking world, your hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.